It's for monetizing your magic.
Cool.
I guess. It's for monetizing your magic for cosmic homies. Okay, so we're having a conversation. I was going to watch something about bees for a completely different reason. But then Michael started talking about his titles on YouTube, and I wanted to hit record. So, and I wasn't really intending to record anything today, but we're here now, so it's cool. So I feel like, because it's like, I'm just like, it's really like I'm getting a message, and I just kind of want to share it. This is less like Elena Rose coaching situation, and just like something I'm like getting that I want to just like, boop, impart that to you guys, okay? So what they're telling me is that the reason why us multidimensional homies are experiencing a lot of frustration with more mainstream platforms to utilize as brand entry points for our multidimensional brands right now is because we're still trying to use them in like, what way is being searched the most? What is the way that is being, kind of that mainstream style of energy, right? Yeah. And it's like, that's why you're getting the results that you're getting right now, is because you're still trying to do things in this mainstream way. And I completely, 1000%, have done this as well very recently, but it's like, we've literally got to forget everything we've been taught about online business and about business in general and about marketing and about how things work or about what to do or all of this other stuff. Like, we've got to start thinking on this higher dimension of reality. So what I mean by this is that instead of focusing on things like, my highest search term is Arcturian, so what if I put Arcturian at the beginning of all of the videos? Yes, your views are absolutely going to go up, but I'm going to be honest. It may not be with the people that you actually want to be seeing your stuff.
That's valid. Right?
So what they're telling me is instead what we should be doing is we should be focusing on saying precisely what something is, not trying to make it sound better for the humans or not trying to make it sound more searchable, not dumbing it down for mass consumption. Because, I have been told that there are now 2.3 billion of the Earth's population is cosmic homies. We've got plenty of people to talk to. That's why, for months now I've been saying, like, we're not out here. I was talking to someone who was a psychic reader for many years a few weeks ago, and she kept saying things like, oh yeah, we'll just dumb it down for the humans and then they'll buy it. And I was like, yo, lady, this is not a vibe, right? Like, it was just not a vibe in the least, because first of all, while I understood what she was talking about, because let me tell you, as a professional witch, I tracked exactly what people were buying from me. And I knew that if I wanted to make money in the, that group spell that week, it was going to be focused around love or money. But then some weeks I would just be like, I've got to do a chakra one. I know I'm going to make like fucking nothing, but the 3 people that are going to buy it really need it.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that's really, I think, why Harvest Rose worked so well and why it didn't matter who tried to like copy me or steal my spell names or any of that stuff. They never saw the success that I did, because I wasn't just making stuff up so that more people would find me. I was never trying to go viral. I was literally speaking to the handful of people because especially when I started Harvest Rose, I didn't know that it was going to be kind of a big deal. You know what I mean? So literally it's like I was just speaking to the handful of people who were going to relate to that content. And it was like, I was just following the energy. I just had to create certain stuff. Some stuff that I created that got me some of the biggest clients I ever had, I had no fucking clue why I did it. It really didn't make sense. It wasn't stuff that even was seen the most. The stuff that was seen the most typically made me the least money. Right? Because I wasn't focusing on doing things for the vanity metrics or the mainstream or the way that most people think. I was literally just following the vibe all the way back to like 2017, which is like now, in the kind of online business coaching world, you'll see everybody's always talking about the vibe and the energetics and the frequency, right? These words have gotten very popular to use for people, and they're not wrong for using them or anything. It's nothing like that. It's just I've noticed that a lot of them really clearly don't understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they talk about the frequency of money, but they would never put a frequency shot on. And I'm like, or they, like judge people who work with crystals. And I'm like, but crystals are just master frequency transmitters. So when you're like judging someone for talking about crystals in business and you're like, I turned on it for training because somebody talked about getting a crystal, but then you're going to use the word frequency in your marketing. You just tell me that you don't actually know what you're saying. You're just using popular catchphrases.
Yeah.
And the truth is, of course, I'm sure no one hearing this transmission ever does that because you're all multidimensional baddies. That's all I'm putting this out to. But the truth is that we see it all the freaking time. This is something that like somebody entirely different literally said to me it was earlier today, I think. They might have sent the message last night. But basically what he said was that the vibe of the internet is very strange right now. And, that it's like, he was talking about, he had been Googling an ancient Eastern health practice, the ancient art of butthole sunning. But really, exposure to the sun and all of that stuff, has lots of health benefits. But he was talking about how, how he kind of had this whole rant. Definitely part of his magic. I'm so excited. He's unlocking it right now. I just love to see it. But he was like, I wonder how many people are out there stopping themselves from sharing their gifts and their magic and their knowledge because they're afraid some pseudo expert who has a bunch of made up credentials is going to come along and tell them that, slathering chemicals on their vessels in the form of sunscreen is better than, sunning your butthole for 7 minutes a day. Was like, that was basically the gist of the conversation. It's always really lit in my Voxer containers, by the way. Like, love it. But I was sitting there and it just kind of hit me, and then I immediately started painting this morning. So that's what I've done all day is paint, and now I'm drinking tea. But that I started thinking like I think I was doing a background process because I had this grid I had to finish. It had been half finished for a hot minute, and it was starting to annoy me that it wasn't done yet. So I had to sit down and paint this morning so that I could finish it. But I was like thinking in my subconscious mind, I wonder how many people out there really haven't ever thought, wow, I could actually monetize my magic because there's all these people out there that are going to talk about me on social media. I mean, you go on a social media right now, like none of us want to be on social media. That's a thing I've seen. I've seen lots of people out there who claim to be very like higher frequency, saying that they're still having a great time on social media. But then I also noticed that they'll go through these big spurts where they don't want to post and they don't want to talk. And it's like, are you really having fun or not? And it's, I think that the biggest thing to keep in mind right now is we've got to actually go in the opposite direction of everything that is currently advised that is mainstream if we are actually higher frequency beings on Earth.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like, and it's so easy for us also, though, to get caught in the trap. And I say this to myself too, so please don't feel like I'm calling everyone but me out. Absolutely not in the least. We're all doing this together. It's so easy for us to be like, but they say it's working, so I should just go do that. But these people are having success with it, so I should do it like that too, right? Like, I see these people doing this, so I'm just going to kind of follow the leader, even on a subconscious level. We do this because we're just very programmed to do this, especially on this earth, right? Of just like going along with what other people are doing, especially people who we perceive to be more successful than us or to have something that we desire, right? But then we get frustrated and we're like, well, why is it not working like the way that it is for all of these other people? You know what I mean? Why are the people who post the really generic, frequency sleep music that literally does nothing for you whatsoever? It'll be like, listen for 3 minutes and your anxiety will disappear. And it's like, well, bitch, I listened for 8 hours overnight and I woke up anxious as shit from the 5 minutes of sleep I managed to get. That was literally me the whole time. I started trying to work with frequency years before I even met Michael. And for the most part, I kind of just was like, for several years because none of it did anything, right?
Even when we got together and you introduced me to like a lot of the things that were out there, like I'd known about some of these, like I'd found some things, but I never really went into it because to me, again, it just never really did anything.
They didn't do anything.
I tried
they didn't do anything
for years and it just never did. And then when we got together, we would literally spend so long trying to find something that did something.
I did that for I remember laying down in bed in it was either 2018 or 2019. And I was so anxious, I couldn't sleep. And I was like trying to find a frequency because I was like, I knew that's what I needed. I knew a frequency would help, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything that would actually work though. I went through I was going through all the chakra frequencies and all of that's why I'm like, don't, the solfeggio stuff, it's incomplete, right? It's incomplete. That's what I'll say about that. That's a different recording, but it's incomplete. And so then, I was able to start telling Michael oh, this or that, and he took it and put it together and has made, Ascended Frequencies live because I channel the codes, but I can't actually make that sound come out of a computer. You know what I mean? I also can't make the videos, by the way. If you're ever like, wow, I wish I could do videos like her. I don't do any of the videos that you ever see with the cool captions and the branding and all of that. That's literally all Michael. Just an FYI.
And it took a while to get there.
Yeah, it took it, but that's not me. I would literally post an audio only podcast if I was doing this by myself. That's actually one of the reasons why the guides told me to start a podcast back in 2021.
Yeah.
2020. And I put it off because I was like, you have to do all this tech and everything. You know what I mean?
And only come to find out you really didn't.
Yeah, you really didn't. And then I started publishing Luxury Witch back in the day. I just record and hit publish. Boom. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, but that's actually part of it too, right? Why did I put off starting the podcast? Because I thought I would have to edit it, and I thought I'd have to have the little, freaking sound mixer, and I thought I'd have to wear the headphones, and I thought I'd have to... If you could have told me years ago, I could have just hit record on my phone and then talked into my phone and then hit publish. Oh my God, I'd probably have a really big podcast by now, to be perfectly honest, right?
Yeah.
Because I would have published so many freaking episodes because I would have just podcasted the whole freaking time. It's crazy.
You would have had so many things that you would have been talking about. So
Yeah.
many experiences, client experiences.
Why did it
spells
take
you
me-
did, places you went.
Yes. Also, though, thinking about I could have done stuff. I mean, it's so, I talk about this in Offers Decoded and Monetize Your Magic, but it's so prevalent for people to not do certain offers because they think for example, oh, if I teach if I create a $2,000 tarot course, it's all got to be video, right? No, actually, I don't think it does. I don't really know that many things need to be video these days, just to be perfectly honest. But that's like a big thing for people, right? Is like they think that, if they're going to do this, then their face has got to be in it. Your face doesn't have to be in it, right?
No.
You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
But that is also going, completely against kind of the norm and what we're programmed to do and the way that we're programmed to show up. I could have shown up for people so much more if I had had the concept of like, oh my gosh, back especially like 2017 on, I could have had just a subscription that was people in like a Telegram channel or a Voxer broadcast, something like that, right? Literally just giving them energy updates. Like my clients would have paid for it. They would have paid absolutely a membership to be in all kinds of stuff like that, right? I could have done so much more and hosted so many more containers if I hadn't felt like everything had to have this, I'm so sick of the launch periods and the launches, right? That was one program I was working on last year. It was called Launchless Launches. Right? I'm so sick of these concepts of like launch periods and all of this other stuff, because if I'm being honest, if people want to buy something from you, they will.
Yeah.
Like, if someone wants to buy from you, they will. And a launch period is really just psychological manipulation. And if the people that you're selling to can't see through that, they're probably not very high vibrational, right? Which is why I no longer do traditional launch periods whatsoever.
Yeah.
A launch for me is, it is available to buy. Like that's it. It is available now.
Yeah.
And then if I decide that I want to like raise the price for something, I just tend to give people like notice, like, hey, the price is going up in a week. And if you want to get in at the lower price, cool. And if you don't, you can buy it at the higher price, but it's going to be a higher price. So I'm just letting you know, you know what I mean? Like that's literally it. But that worked really, really well for Harvest Rose with all of the spell work as well. Because that's, like I've talked about this before, but that's the energy I sold with every single day. I did not give one flying fuck if a client bought from me or not, because there was always going to be somebody else who wanted magic.
Yeah.
That was just it. Now here's the thing. I had, right, that you could think like, well, that's not going to work, but it did. It did. Absolutely. But think about this, right? There's always going to be somebody who wants business coaching. There's always going to be somebody who wants frequency. There's always going to be somebody who wants a tarot reading. There's always going to be somebody who wants energy healing. There's always going to be someone who wants literally anything.
Yeah.
There's always going to be someone who wants it. And there's always going to be somebody who wants your specific brand and your specific flavor of that, right?
Yeah.
It's like peach pies. Two people don't make the exact same peach pie, even though they're both peach pie.
Yeah. Watch Great British Baking Show.
Watch Great British Baking Show, and you will see that, 13 people can bake the same thing, and it still tastes completely different. It has a completely different texture. It's a completely different vibe, different energy, different decorations, right? So everybody can have that energy of like, I don't care if you're an unaligned. That was just my thing. It was like, if somebody turned up and they got a reading and they were totally unaligned for spell work, I didn't care. I wished them well, unless they were like mean to me. And then I would wish them the experience that they deserve. But if they were nice to me, I would also wish them the experience they deserved, because it's like the best thing ever. Just, I wish what you deserve. You know what I mean?
It's
but
up to that person at that point. What did they deserve?
What do you deserve? But I didn't get all up in I didn't feel the need to close anybody. I didn't get all up in my feels if someone wasn't aligned. I wasn't sitting around like, oh, I'm a failure, blah, blah, blah. And I don't really necessarily think that the people listening to this think that about themselves. I think that we see people on the internet all the time talking like this.
Yeah.
And then it subconsciously programs us to get in these like lower levels of the financial matrix. Like that's just really what it is.
Yeah, but I mean,
to tell
here's
you
the thing.
So I'm calling it out so that people can recognize it. Sorry, thanks for letting me finish. Because I've realized that like it's so insidious, this energy that comes through, and we see it constantly when we're scrolling and when we're just, there, like for example, I've been on Threads a lot over the past few months, right? And there are people that'll pop up that I don't follow, and I see them and I'll be like, oh, I wish the best for you, but you just kind of give me the ick. Just to be perfectly honest, for no reason. They just give me the ick. And if you give me the ick, I just don't want you around. So those, that's where I'm like hiding people and everything like that, right? But the problem here that I'm starting to realize is I've already read the content. I've already come into contact with the frequency and the vibration and the energy. And so it's not a vibe. And then I'm just like, I don't want to even show up in that space. But then what that subconsciously does is that tells me you don't want to show up about this thing, right? So I talk about business on Threads predominantly. So then what I realized was it was starting to make me not want to show up and talk about business. But that's why, is because I've just gotten like subconsciously programmed with this energy of these people who they might resonate with what I say about an Instagram tip or this or that or the other, but ultimately they're not an aligned frequency match. There's no cosmic contract there. And so it's a disresonance is really what's going on, right? It's like it's already caused the disresonance within me, though, because I consumed their content. I'm an Arcturian, so I eat energy constantly. I'm just like little Hoover over here, Ooh, what's all of this? And I'm like, it's like, I'm literally consuming the energy off of the Winterscape vintage art that is currently up on the YouTube suggested video, right? That's just kind of, now all of a sudden like a hippo has popped up. Oh, and now I'm in the energy of now I'm in the energy of the wildlife animals, So it's like if I'm that susceptible to energy just from YouTube stills, what am I really truly picking up from social media? Because for months now I've been like, I just want to get the fuck off social media. But then the funny thing is the more that I kind of started talking about this, the more that other people who I consider to be very high frequency, multidimensional baddies started turning up going, oh yeah, I got off social media. Oh yeah, I haven't been on social media for months or years. Or yeah, I'm still on it, but it's just really not a vibe and I'm literally only using it for business. But then I think, if you're on a platform that's not a vibe and you're only using it for business, are you really going to be bringing in the most aligned people for... No, right?
I don't think so, no.
Probably not. So that's where I've really been like tapping into, wanting to, podcast, I keep talking about wanting to blog, but then there's still just like something funky about blogging for me. So I don't know what that is right now.
I feel like an idea that just kind of came to me would be the fact of people misread texts, right?
Yeah.
When you just send a text to somebody, you'll have like people can get three different kinds of reactions from the same text, right? Not everyone's going to read it the exact same way or the way that it was intended by the writer. Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah. So I feel like that's potentially what it could be. Like you're already, because again, Oracle, like you're already seeing ahead of time the potential timelines, but you're doing it so fast that you just automatically know, hey, look, that's just not a good idea because...
Yeah, it's like I don't even have to ask the questions anymore. Like, I just get the information.
Yeah.
It's literally on a need-to-know basis, and I need to know a lot, okay, here?
Yeah.
Right? So... Yeah, that's interesting because it's like I've been thinking.
That's why you're talking is more important. That's why you're recording podcast episodes and talking is much more important because you can actually express yourself completely and it's not misinterpretable.
And then thinking about this too, like, so going back to how we started recording this episode where I was talking about how, we're really wanting the people who are we want the people who we have the contracts with to see our work. Like, I'm just going to be honest. We've And so here's kind of an important thing, right? We've got to get out of this like, oh, well, my work is just for everyone and anyone who needs it. And then, if a few people would like to pay me so that I can just keep doing this, then that would just be dandy energy, right? Like, we've got to get the fuck out of that.
Yeah.
So it's like, at this point, it's no longer about having these really high numbers of people. I say that saying that I fully think that everyone who starts doing business like this is going to blow the fuck up.
Yeah.
But with 2,000 people watching your video every single time, or, however many people, 10,000 people watching your video every single, 20,000 people, you guys know, I don't care about the numbers. Whatever the number is, 200 people, whatever's a lot for you, it's going to start happening, but it's going to be the aligned people. It's going to be the people you have the contracts with. It's going to be the people who actually are like, yes, I would like to pay you for something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether that's your lowest priced offering or your highest priced offering, or whether that's leaving amazing comments on every single one of your videos. Maybe that's the contract, right?
Yeah.
Who knows?
A like, a view, a comment, a share. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because it's even down to things like, I'm going to share this so 3 other people that need to see this actually see this too.
Yeah. And then they're going to share it. And so then 10 people are going to see it from that. And then that 10th person that comes from me sharing it the first time, that 10th person is like your first high ticket client.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so we have to really start to think very multidimensionally about this stuff.
You have to think big picture.
And really, the biggest thing that they had to say that they wanted me to communicate in this transmission was that you need to be calling a spade a spade. If it's a 4-inch tiny bonsai shovel, then that's what you call it. If it is a post hole digger, can you tell that I grew up in Oklahoma? If it's a post hole digger, then you need to call it that. If it's a wheelbarrow, you need to call it that. And you need to be hyper specific about what it is. Red wheelbarrow to carry your plants from one end of the garden to the other on a sunny day so that you can build the English rose garden of your dreams. Like, that specific. Because think about things like your titles as a code.
Yeah.
It's less about, like, fuck the algorithm. Fuck every single algorithm to ever exist on Earth. It's been replaced by the universal algorithm. Thank you. Right? We're tapping into cosmic consciousness here. We're tapping into stuff that doesn't make sense. Really illogical ways of doing things. Yes, I went back and reverse engineered how to teach people how to do luxurious life streams, because I realized that, I had created something really cool when I was doing nightly ultra updates and wax reports. And I gave it a fun name, right? You guys, I had no idea that anybody was ever going to watch that video when I did the very first nightly ultra update. No clue. And when I did the first wax report, I had no idea that one day people would pay me for that content. People literally paid me $35 for every 6 spells for their wax reports there towards the end of my spell work career. Because I actually monetized the live stream that I had created. All because one time a candle burned really cool in 2017. And I shot a little video for my client to show it to them. And I realized that maybe people on the internet would be interested to see that.
Yeah.
And then they were. Yeah. And those 2 types of content made me a lot of money and did a lot of stuff, as we talked about in episode 1. I was talking about how, like, I realized what a grid of magic I created on Earth and all of the, huge amount of web of people that I had as my clients. So really start to think about, like, rather than, what title do I put on this, or what hashtags do I use to whatever, or what do I write in the caption, or what is the SEO like? Like, who cares? You know what I mean? You can spend all of your creative energy focused on stuff like that, or you can get really, really, really clear about the 2 most important questions in all of Monetize Your Magic, and I'm going to share them with you right now. The 2 most important questions are, who are you talking to, and what are you saying? And if you're in Monetize Your Magic, you're like, oh my gosh, I get it now. And if you're not, then you should be in Monetize Your Magic. Hello, what are you doing? It's like cosmic party time, multidimensional business, all day, every day is Christmas. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, it's like I frequency load. You know, if you know if it is for you. Okay? Like I don't have to say anything else. And here's the thing. This is actually the energy that I approached selling all of those spells with. All the way back in the day, back in 2017, this was the energy that I had, was like, if you know you want it, you know you want it. And I don't have to do one damn thing to get you to pay me for it because you want it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you think about like when you want an iced coffee, when you walk in, do they have to sell you an iced coffee?
No, they ask you, what do you want?
They ask you, what do you want? And you tell them.
What can I get you today?
Yeah. They don't have to close the deal when you walk into the coffee store. Because when you walk into the coffee shop, you walk in because you want coffee.
You walk into a restaurant because you want that food.
But then think about the difference, like when you walk into a car dealership and they immediately start trying to close you.
Yeah.
Or like that dispensary that we walked into and they immediately were just using all the sales tactics.
Yeah.
Right? Because they think that they're selling people things that they don't want. Probably because they're selling people things that they really don't want to pay what they're charging and the experience that they are having for. You walk in, most people walk into a car dealership and there's at least some amount of stress because most people aren't walking in and paying in full in cash.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they're like, oh, am I going to be able to even get this car? Oh, I'm stressed out. I've just kind of got to take blah, 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 blah. Like there's all that energy. But then if you walk into, like Mercedes, it's a different energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so this is really where that kind of like luxury brand energy comes in, right? So we're going to go back to our dune sandworm analogy. There is something already present on this planet that emulates this concept of business in 7D. And that is luxury branding and luxury energetics. And when you walk into a coffee shop, for the most part, unless you're in like a shitty Starbucks in Georgia, but like Michael and I like only go to like nice, privately owned, bougie coffee shops these days, right?
Yeah. We
do not go to Starbucks because it will gluten me. Yeah. Starbucks is a horrible place if you have a gluten allergy. So, you walk in and it's just very, oh yes, you want 3 syrups and double the syrup and oat milk? You've got it. I'm making it right now. If it's not sweet enough, just give it back and I'll make it again. It's just like this total different energy, like that you get to experience. So yes, of course we want to go into the coffee shop. Who cares if we're paying $30 for 2 coffees and, an oat bar or 2, right?
Right. We're getting what we want.
I don't have to. You walk in and they know that you want your gluten-free oat milk, and they make sure that the syrups are gluten-free and not going to poison you. It's just a different experience, And when you walk into, I say coffee shops because like I feel like a lot of people probably have never walked into Chanel.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same energy as like when you walk into a luxury store, where they just kind of assume that you're there to buy if you're walking in. And if you're not, that's also fine. Or if maybe you just want a water, that's cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, you just want to buy a wallet here. Oh, you're just looking for some sunglasses. Cool. You know what I mean? But it's like, instead of, no one in what I'm talking about is trying to sell anybody on anything. When you walk into Chanel and you look around for a minute and you walk back out, they don't try to sell you a bag.
No.
They might ask, oh, is there anything that I can help you with today? Or are you looking for something in particular? Or are you just browsing? Okay, well, let me know if you need anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a very low pressure, vibey energy. Every Christmas, we would go to Union Square in San Francisco. And my dad loved to just brusquely walk in and out of all of the designer stores. I'm not really sure why. It's like I think he just wanted to walk into the energy and like, vibe for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember like we would walk in, walk back out. And I wanted to see what they had in store this season. They've got all of these. Didn't like the colors.
Yeah,
it's just an energy he had. About the whole like concept. I love doing that. It was so cool. I bet he still does it. To be perfectly honest, I'm gonna have to ask him the next time I talk to him. Like, when was the last time you just brusquely walked into Chanel to kind of like vibe? And maybe you should do it more. Just a concept. Maybe we should all approach life like that a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, anyways. Maybe we should all approach our brands like that too. Right? Yeah. If you're coming to Ascended Frequencies, honey, you know what's up. It's Ascended Frequencies. I mean, how do you not? Right? Yeah. Like when I opened the Freedom from Fear Masterclass with, "Hi, I'm Rose Dumaine." I mean, obvi. If you don't, if you don't know who I am, how? Right? Yeah. Like that was the energy that I had. Yeah. It's like, if you don't know who I am, how? You know what I mean? Because when you position yourself like that, then that positions the people coming into your brand to know who the fuck you are. Mm-hmm. And to know who the fuck the brand is. And also probably to know who the fuck they are and what the fuck they want. Because when you walk into the coffee shop, you've probably already got some idea of what you're about to order.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a brand new place and you have no clue what's going on. But when people walk into your brand, ideally, they already know what they want to order. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? When people would come to get spell work from me, they had their list and they were ready to roll. They'd be like, well, I think I need this. Can I get the entire Battle Magic package? Can I? Well, I saw you post this spell and I want one of my own and then whatever else you recommend. People would literally come in like, so I know that you're going to make the recommendations, but I've been seeing a lot of these 7 spells lately, and I was just curious, can I have them too? Right? Like people came in, they knew what they wanted to buy. Guess what? I used to make multiple $1,000 sales with like no info. My product pages what they were actually buying, like the product pages, I would say like binding and banishing. How much was the binding and banishing? Oh my gosh, I can't even remember. There were a few prices throughout the years. I think it was $180 at the end. So it'd say like the product literally said like binding and banishing $180. The only thing in the description said, do not purchase unless, like, I can't remember exactly what we said, but basically it was like, do not purchase this if it is not part of a spellwork list that has been recommended to you by Rose in a consultation or like something like that. Mm-hmm. And the only reason that we had that on there was because technically people could find all of the spells if they looked hard enough on the website, and we didn't want anybody buying spells like just trying to buy a spell without getting a reading, right? Because that's not how we ran the business. Right. So literally that was it in their listings, because all my clients had like they had their own like list of products. So we made them each individual product pages basically, and then we added the products that they on their list to the page. It was really cool how we did it, right? Oh. So we made them, we just called it, a private portal. We're going to send you the link to your private portal. All of your spells that are recommended are going to be right there. They didn't have to worry about adding anything to their basket or like, okay, do I need that? Which spells do I need? No, all they had to go do was go in and click what they wanted to add to their order, and then go check out. They could add everything at once. They could add 1 or 2. And then if they didn't do the entire order, we would go in and manually take the spells that they had already purchased off so that whenever they were ready to buy, their list was just right there.
That's
right?
cool.
It was so cool how we set that up. I had done PayPal invoices prior to that. But that was really cool the way that we did that. And we had no product description. I made hundreds of thousands of dollars on spell work with no product descriptions on what they were buying. The product description on like their actual little on their portal, on their list would be, it was like a copy and paste template that we used. We would copy and paste their spell list in so they could see the exact order that it was going to go in. And that was it. They didn't have to sit there and read a 16-page sales page to figure out if they wanted to buy a binding and banishing. I would send somebody the link to their list, and literally 4 minutes later, I would have made $4,000. Because they just go in and like add to cart, 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 checkout. Boom. Pay. Because the brand did the selling for me, because they already knew what they were buying before they came in. Because I would have also, I had, now to be completely fair here, they had all had readings with me. So in their reading, I'd be like, okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to, I would tell them what I was going to recommend. But also for the most part, especially later on, I got to where at the end of a call, I'd say, okay, well, I'm going to put together your list. We're going to do stuff that's going to, okay, so for example, I'm going to tell you how I'd word it so that you can get like some ideas for yourself, right? But I would literally just be like, I wouldn't sit there and read them their entire list and be like, okay, well, now the binding and banishing is going to do this. And then the unbinding, I wouldn't sit there and read out 24 spells. A lot of people had like, because I was attracting people who wanted to do lots of spell work on a variety of topics. So what I would say would be like, okay, so what we're going to do is, I'm going to go put together your spell work list. I have all of the stuff that you want to work on. So we're going to have a section for your mother-in-law. We're going to take care of the magic she's been doing to you. We're going to get all the magic she's done to your husband off of him. We're going to stop her from doing any more magic. And then we're going to reverse the effects of that, do a cord cutting, a cleansing, all of that. Then for your career, I'm going to have another section that's going to have stuff like, blockbuster, road opener, a few other things to just help you move in the direction that you're wanting to move in with that. And, et cetera, whatever, right? So they already knew that the list that they were getting was going to help them get this thing that they wanted. Mm-hmm. And that's all they actually cared about. They didn't need to sit. Now, sometimes, I would send an email and the most common question that I got was, hi, everything looks great. I just had a couple of questions. I totally forgot that I wanted to ask for this spell. Was one of the most common things that people would say. And then the most common question that I got was, and could you just tell me exactly what the blockbuster is? So, of course, I had a blog post. What's in a name? The blockbuster spell that I had written in 2017. And I would just send that to them. So I would, yes, of course you can add that spell. I will put it on your list. I wrote this blog in 2017, all about the blockbuster spell. It's going to answer any questions. If you've got any more, please feel free to just, reply after you read it.
Yeah. Read it first, because all the answers should be there.
And every single time, they would either purchase or they'd be like, great, can I have my invoice? Sounds awesome. Yeah, what a great blog. Yeah. Because I was getting that question so much that I was like, I'm going to write a blog about this real quick.
Yeah.
And then it was just really open-ended. Just, if they wanted to buy, they could. They had the link. Now, sometimes if somebody had been really gung-ho, or just to be perfectly honest, if I really needed to pay the rent, I might send out a, round of emails. Hey, just checking in, wondering if you had any questions. Mm-hmm. Hey, just wanted to reach out, make sure you got your spell work list, stuff like that, right? If I'd had a call with somebody who, because sometimes they wouldn't. Be honest, right? So sometimes sometimes I'd be sitting there and I'd be like, the rent's due in 5 days and I don't have it right now. I'm going to go make it.
Yeah.
And then I just, no pressuring. I wasn't over here like, ooh, booga, 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 you know, the curses are going to befall you if you don't pay me, you know, or anything like that. Right? But sometimes people wouldn't have gotten their list, or sometimes the email would have gotten shoved down in their inbox and they wouldn't have even realized that I had sent them their list.
Yeah.
Sometimes they would have just forgotten about it. Sometimes they'd be like, oh my God, I've been meaning to, and all day I've been thinking, I've got to go do that, and I just kept putting it off, and I'm going to do it right now, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, whatever. Sometimes I never heard from the person again. If I didn't get a response back after generally 2 emails, I just would be like, well, they clearly are not interested, and I just didn't contact them anymore, because guess what? There were always people who wanted spell work, and I had that energy, and it worked. And that is really the whole concept of business in 7D. It's just back then I didn't have fun names for all of this. And I didn't have one fucking clue what I was doing. I just knew I was out there doing it really well. That was it, right? I used to say that all the time. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm doing it really well. And I was, because I wasn't focusing on any of the mainstream business tactics. I was a professional witch. That's probably, if I have to be honest, that's probably why I picked professional witchdom in my pre-incarnational experience meeting. Because when you're sitting there, I am bound and determined that I am going to sell something that no one can teach me how to sell. There was no one out there in 2017 when I decided to do this. Now you find witchy business coaches and, we're having ritual and strategy. That shit didn't exist in 2017. Nobody was fucking doing it. I wish they had been doing it, right?
Yeah.
But they weren't. So there was, but do I really wish they had been? No, because I had to do all of this my way, like the manifesting queen that I am. Yeah. Manifester queen that I am, whatever. Anyways. And I'm a manifesting queen too. Because it really forced me to look at business in this completely different way. And I think that even that might be part of the reason why it seems like it's more difficult now for spiritual people to monetize their magic. Mm-hmm. Because there are people who are out here oh yes, I too am a spiritual practitioner and I have this thriving situation, and all you need to do is download my totally mainstream business tactics in this free lead magnet, which is also a totally mainstream business tactic, and come to my free workshop, which is totally a lead-in for the launch that you're going to see me do in 2 weeks. But I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to make you think that I'm doing a free workshop out of the goodness of my heart. And then 2 weeks later, I'm going to try to sell you into my thing, right? And here's the thing. It's fine. I'm not opposed to making money. I fucking love making money. I have 87 placements in Capricorn. I have a membership called Luxury Witch Lifestyle. I'm not opposed to money here, right? What I am opposed to, though, is these really sleazy mainstream business tactics that make people think that you're doing things just because you're a good person and you want to show up for the community that you're creating. But really, you just want to make a fucking sale, and this is the way you think you can do it. And there's a really big difference. And so that's why so many people are so over social media, and they're so over these mainstream business tactics because they're just not working. They don't work for us. I remember when I hosted Manifestation Mindset back in 2020, I actually didn't realize that all of those workshops and all of those 5-day challenges, all the free 5-day challenges and all of that stuff, right? I didn't realize that those were lead magnets because I had never had to do a lead magnet before. I'd already made over $500,000. I'd never done anything like a lead magnet before. I had the Monetize Your Magic funnel.
Yeah.
You see a post, you book a reading, you book spell work, we repeat. Boom! Done! Really effective. Worked really well.
Yeah.
Very high frequency way to do business. And when I wasn't, when I wasn't doing that, I was writing and creating programs and teaching classes because I just had to. And, now clearly we have all of the material in Luxury Witch Lifestyle. So thanks, past me. Yeah. But like doing that in that way, it was just completely energetically clear. And then when we try to start doing stuff in this, oh, well, what's the best way to get the most views and this and that and the other, you're not going to be truly expressing what something is if that's the energy you're approaching it with.
Yeah.
You're not going to be like, so your idea of like, oh, well, what if I just put Arcturian on all of them? Well, it makes sense, except what if the frequency's not an Arcturian frequency? The Orionid frequencies aren't technically Arcturian frequencies. I just happen to be an Arcturian, and I've got Business Bob up there who has an entire frequency phone book. And when we want a frequency for something, he opens the phone book and he reads me the frequency.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to tell you. Like, that's how, or sometimes it's Phil, or sometimes it's Frank. I love it when it's Frank because he always has like this whole vibe with him. Or sometimes the boys from Beetlejuice will read me a frequency code, or, just whoever happens to be around.
Yeah.
It's like I'm astrally phoning the ship like, hey boys, can I get a code for blah, blah, blah? And then they give it to me. Like, that's literally it. You know what I mean? It's not, the Arcturians didn't necessarily come up with all of these codes. It very likely is Arcturian technology, and that's why you channeled that. But that doesn't mean that they're necessarily, that like describes them appropriately.
Yeah, you're right. I understand what you mean.
Yeah. And if you think about how specific the frequencies themselves are, we need to be that specific with describing our stuff. Everything that we're doing needs to be that specific. Because when it is, binding and banishing is going to bind anyone from doing, it's going to bind this person from doing, sorry, I said anyone, and it was, maybe an all-purpose, but a lot of people had very specific stuff. Binding and banishing is going to bind Mary from doing any more magic to you. It's going to bind the magic Mary has already done from having any more harm, and then the banishing is going to yeet all of Mary's ick-ass energy right on out of your life. Hyper-specific! Okay, now then, is that going to cut cords from me and Mary? No, that would be a cord cutting. Okay, is it going to reverse the spell work that Mary did that's been causing havoc on my life? No, you need a spell reversal for that. Is it going to unbind me from Mary because she put a love binding on me? No, an unbinding is going to do that. That's why the spells were so specific.
Yeah.
Because they were tuning you to a hyper-specific frequency. Well, now you're in the frequency where Mary can't do any more magic to you, and the magic that Mary's already done is completely ineffective because I just tuned you to the frequency where you're sitting where Mary can't fucking touch you.
Yeah.
I've just explained how my spell work worked. There you go, if you were ever curious.
Yeah.
Boom, right? I was tuning people to these. Well, now I've tuned you to the frequency with this candle. I was just using a candle as the method of frequency tuning.
Yeah.
So they could see the spell, they could hook into the frequency that I put into the spell, and then they could elevate themselves to that frequency. Mm-hmm. Well, now you're in the frequency of your cords are completely cut from Mary. We've done all of this other spell work to tune you to the frequency of being in the, no longer, Mary's bitch-ass binding spells no longer making you feel like crap on an energetic level because you're no longer sitting in the frequency where Mary's bitch-ass binding spell can get you.
Yeah.
It's just a frequency thing. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we just need to be like really, really, really paying attention to, and again, it comes back to who are you talking to and what are you saying? It really does. Which was why I was like, probably just trying to like talk to people who identify as starseeds. Probably not the best. It's just not, I just don't think it's tuned enough. I think that you tuned to there so that you could tune to the next place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we do that. That's very common. It's like you have to tune to the frequency of the binding and banishing before you can tune to the frequency of the blockbuster. If someone's working magic on you. But if no one's working magic on you, then why do you need to tune to the frequency of the binding and vanishing? You just go straight to the blockbuster.
Yeah.
If I want to listen to, like this morning I was listening to the Syrian Cosmic Spa frequency. Because my back's been really hurting now for like a day. And I'm going through this big root and sacral chakra purge right now. And I was painting and I was like, yeah, I just want to be in the energy of the cosmic spa. I was remembering when I was channeling the cosmic spa and all of that. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's just such a vibe, right? I think there's a reason why your cosmic spa song has more place than a lot of your other stuff right now. Because people are like, I remember the cosmic spa. We're not talking to people who are over here like, might I perhaps be from the stars? We're talking to people who are like, all right, bitches, we're on Earth. You know what I mean? It's like I saw this, I had posted my story on Instagram a few days ago, but it was like this old post. I was looking back at the Instagram feed for like 2021, 2020 the other day. I saw this old post. It was like spirituality starter pack. And it was, it was all the yoga and the chakras and all the stuff, right? You know, the incense and all the crystals and everything else. And then it was spirituality advanced pack. And it was just someone holding a cup of coffee and a cigarette. And I was like, word. Like it still resonated, even though I stopped smoking like a year and a half ago now, you guys.
No, it's been about a year.
Has it?
Yeah.
I thought it was like right around the beginning of.
Around this time last
was
year,
it?
we were still smoking cigarettes
oh my
every once in a while. We were rolling our own, or
You're
we were
right.
doing the herbal cigarettes.
Yes, I think that was it. I think I'd started doing mostly like I was smoking a lot of rose petals and mullein.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was around the time of the Ren Fair time.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot that was only last year. I thought that was 2 years ago for some reason.
I know, right? Everything,
so wild.
Everything moves so much faster for us. Like
it really does.
Like a week seems like a month to us.
But anyways, yeah, that's kind of the thing, right? Is like it's just very specific, you know. Anyways, I thought that meme was funny though, because I was like, really, like that's really how it is. When you really start getting into this stuff, is like, I'm so sick of hearing people talk about channeling the aliens. Where are the bitches who are the aliens? That's who I'm talking to. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm so over the like, I'm a multidimensional channel. I'm a multidimensional. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, that's just kind of the problem, I think, that a lot of people are having is we're very used to having to hide who we are or what we are. So we're very used to talking to people in this, like, you know, are you too, multidimensional channel, instead of just like, are you a cosmic homie? Yeah. Do I know you from Aldebaran, or is that color of hair just really pretty on you? You know what I mean? You know, it's a completely different energy. The problem is that we all got programmed to talk to people in this way, but then the issue is that there's a lot of people out there right now like, I'm a multidimensional channel too. Well, that's great, but honey, we were never channels to begin with. We were the multidimensionals, and we are channeling, but it's not the same as being like, I am not one of the cosmic homies, but I talk to them, you know, like I'm not a sheep. I'm not in sheep form. If I tried to go become one with the sheep, that wouldn't work out very well, because princess don't want to live in a field.
Yeah.
I love the sheep. I love to hang out with the sheep. I talk to the sheep. Every time we see sheep in a field, I talk to them. I say hello. Sometimes I have full conversations with ducks or trees. Yeah. Does that mean I necessarily need to go out and live like a tree? No, but the problem is that we got really programmed to talk to people who were like ducks masquerading as trees. Mm-hmm. And now we are pretty much only talking to ducks masquerading as trees instead of talking to the trees. But we're trees. Yeah. We're trying to talk to the other trees. Like, I don't speak duck, unfortunately.
Whack, whack.
Except I do. I mean, on a telepathic level, I speak duck. But, like, you know, if I actually tried to, like, quack, quack, I mean, it's not a very good, like, you know, little quack here.
Exactly.
You know, just because that's not my frequency. But, I mean, telepathically, I can commune with the ducks.
Yeah.
I'm also not technically a tree, but I can talk to the trees.
Yeah. I still remember that one tree in Valdosta.
I knew that's what you were about
area.
to say.
It was so beautiful. It was big. You guys didn't get to see it, but the branches were so big that literally an entire person can lay on the tree branches, and they go from high up all the way down in like a curvature. They would go into the ground and whatnot, and it was just like, it was beautiful.
So pretty. Sounds so pretty. I didn't get to see it, but he's told me about it so many times, and every time I'm like, ooh, the tree.
Yeah. It was very beautiful. It was like literally the tree was so tall, and there were so many branches that like they were all over different sizes of the tree. So like literally you were walking into this big like dome of leaves that was a tree. So like you literally had this little entrance that you could walk into, and it was just the whole tree itself.
So pretty.
It was beautiful. And so like the sun was just coming through the leaves here and there and just getting to enjoy it. Everyone else that was with me at that time was not sober. I was the only sober person, and I was the one talking to the tree.
He was the one talking to the tree. Yeah. Of course. I mean, naturally, as one does. So we're all going to go out and talk to trees. Yeah. We're all going to go out and we're going to talk to trees. We're not going to talk to the ducks.
No.
Pretending to be trees. We're not going to talk to the ducks who channel the trees. We're not going to talk to anybody who channels the trees. We're talking to the trees.
Yeah.
We have cosmic business contracts with the other trees, not with the rose bushes. Mm-hmm. It's like a little rose joke. Because I'm a dork.
You're so adorable.
But maybe you do have a cosmic business contract with a rose bush. I mean, who knows, you know?
Yeah.
But again, it's like, I think everybody gets the analogy. Hopefully, if you don't get the analogy, just go away. I guess that's all I've got. Yeah, we've gotta stop talking to the algorithm's a duck too.
Yeah.
Right? Because the people that are out there that we're really talking to, they are hurtling across time and space to find us. Mm-hmm. We have to remember quantum entanglement, aka spooky action at a distance.
Yeah.
And the fact that if we set up all these contracts, if we planned out all of this stuff before, it's already predetermined. It's already waiting. It's literally sitting there waiting for us to put the codes in the right way. Mm-hmm. It's like the concept of, cosmic cash is really, just think about it like there is an infinite amount of money set up for you to tap into. You just can't remember your cosmic pin.
Yeah.
Right? You're just like, what was that? What did I pick? I just got a new card and I can't quite remember it. Is it this or is it this? Oh no. Maybe it's something else entirely. I'm just not sure. Oh dear. Well, guess there's just nothing in there. No, you just can't remember your pin right now. And what we're trying to do is we're just in the pursuit of remembering our cosmic pin. And then when you put the code, which is what a pin is, when you put the code in the right way, when you unlock your cosmic cache with the right set of keys, think about it like a door, like that has multiple locks on it. Mm-hmm. And you've got 3 different keys for all 3 of these locks. And so, you do the top one and then you do the middle one and then you do the third one. But maybe it's like a special lock. And so you have to do it like 2, 3, 1. Yeah. Or at 1 unlock. Because you're a multidimensional baddie and you set it up like that. So that all your cosmic cash would be super safe. Yeah. And now you're like, shit. Which order do I turn these keys? Which order do I put the numbers in? How do I write the code? Oh no. And then all of this other stuff comes along. Oh, well, you write the code by appealing to the algorithm. You unlock the keys by the words that you put in your titles on YouTube. And if you don't put the right titles in, then you're never going to go viral and no one's ever going to hear you. And yeah, you should just really get all up in your grill, though, about the words in your title. Or do you need to be so much of your own energy that the cosmic homies can feel it across all time and space and are like, where are they? Where are they? I can feel them. I feel them. They're here. They're here. Where are they? Where are they? Aldebaranian frequency. And then they search that on YouTube. No one is searching Aldebaranian frequency right now on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
But what if they were? And what if they're not finding anything? Because what if you're so worried about getting your views up and hooking into, like, oh, well, maybe if I just call it this, more people will see it and then I'll make more money. That ain't the vibe.
No.
Right? We actually need to be thinking about who are we talking to and what are we saying? Oh, you're an Aldebaranian starseed and almost nobody's even heard of Aldebaranian starseeds, and they certainly don't have the real deets on what Aldebaran is like and the fact that it's like cosmic Tortuga. Like, it is literally like frat party central of the cosmos, but make it high vibe 24/7. Nobody ever talks about that with Aldebaran. They're like, it is the center of royalty, and it's where the royal bloodlines come from, and you will find Archangel Michael there. Like, yeah, you will. He's partying. Hello, he's a cosmic frat boy too. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yes.
Everyone
and
likes
occasionally,
to have fun.
you'll find me there holding his long, pretty hair back while he throws up because he had a little too much fun. It was, whew. And then we had to get Dionysus out of there because we were like, they've just had entirely too much wine. We got to leave Aldebaran for a hot minute. You know what I mean? Woo!
A little hungover and they're not super happy about
Dionysus, you hailed yourself a little too much. There is no such thing. Hail yourself. It's
yes.
great. But, cosmic partying in Aldebaran. Like, I think the word Aldebaran and I still feel cosmically hungover, okay? I don't know what happened the last time I was in Aldebaran, but woo! I think your girl tied one on. I'm like, oh my gosh, I still feel hungover from that shit. Right? But who else is out there who still feels hungover from Aldebaran? Just saying. But if we're going to come out and do things that have never been done before, and if we're going to bring about this new era for Earth, we're going to have to do shit in a way that does not make sense, that no one else is doing, except for obviously the witchery, you homies, and everybody monetizing their magic. You know what I mean? So it's like, you're not alone. You don't have to go out there and do it by yourself. I did. TBH. I did it by myself years ago. It was fun. It was like a never-ending adventure. And now I'm like, ooh, wait. That's why Harvest Rose was like, I'm tired. I'm going to take a nap. Because we already did all of this. And she's like, I don't want to hear it again. I already did it. You can do it without me this time. I'm going to go sit and I'll make you money in my sleep. It's fine. I'm going to make us some nice money. It's going to be great. I got my stuffy. I got my blankie. I'm going nap, right? That was like Harvest Rose to me a few days ago. And I was like, okay. But then it started to make sense because she was like, I don't want to create anything new. I don't want to do anything new. I just want to fucking rest. I want to rest and I want to make money. And I was like, I feel you 1000%. But it didn't make sense fully because I thought like, oh, everything I'm doing right now with Monetize Your Magic and everything was new. Then I realized it's literally just me giving fancy names and a nice way to explain all of this stuff to people so that I can teach them how to do it for themselves. And so the cool thing is like, I don't have to be by myself anymore. I don't have to do all of this wild shit alone anymore. I can now do wild shit and have other people like, yeah, I'm doing the wild shit too. How cool is that? Like, that's so cool. Epic as fuck.
Yeah.
But we've got to stop thinking about things in this How do I get the algorithm to show me to more people? How do I get more people to see this? How do you get the right people to see it?
Yeah.
How do you get the algorithm to show you to the right people? How do you show up in the places where the right people are? Where are they? You know what I mean? Like, where are they actually hanging out? What are they actually searching for? Mm-hmm. And this is what changed everything for me when I was sitting in my bedroom floor in front of my altar. I'd just done it. I had literally just started nightly altar updates. Those were starting to take off. I remember, like, I'd posted the spell work that I was doing. It was sitting there burning on the altar. And I remember, like, the video, all of a sudden it had, like, I think it had, like, probably 200 or 300 views, which was a lot back then, right? And I was like, how are all these people finding me? And I realized that it was because I'd used the hashtag candle magic. And they were all looking for a professional witch to cast candle magic for them. Well, guess what everything in the whole brand became about?
Candle magic.
Candle magic. And that happened because I finally tuned into also, though, what I really wanted to be doing. I really wanted to be casting spells and being in the energy of that. I didn't want to be a professional tarot reader, actually. I've done over 2,000 readings. I own a lot of cards. I know a lot about the tarot and all of that stuff. But they were a part of the magic, not the full scope of the magic. Mm-hmm. And so when I really tuned into, like, what was the full scope of my magic supposed to be? Because up until then, I had just been, trying to make sales on my Etsy store, trying to get a handful of people to book a reading a week or, whatever. But that's because I still hadn't tuned into what my real magic was. And then when I tuned into my real magic of spell work and focused only on that, well, that's how I did 2,000 readings for people, right? Yeah. That's how everything took off because I got really clear on who I was talking to and what I was saying. Who I was talking to was, you want a professional witch who knows what she's doing and can handle anything and isn't scared of shit, and you want her to cast candle magic for you so that you can get what you want, fix an undesirable issue in your life, and be in the energy of magic, right?
Right.
It's not about this outdated, like, concept of, like, I used to love a client avatar so much, but it's just really not about that anymore. Mm-hmm. That stuff all worked back then. It's not even about, like, that was literally my target market. My target market, because I realized magic had no tax bracket, it had no race, it had no religion, it had no identifiable features whatsoever, it had no gender, it had no age group. People from, super young to 70 would contact me for magic. I didn't work with anybody under the age of 18. But literally, I had people from 18 to, like, late 60s as my client range, so if I had been over here like, well, she's a successful 24-year-old female who's, you know what I mean? Like, that just didn't work.
Yeah.
And the thing is that when I started trying to do that stuff was when I was really, because I wanted to sell my courses. I wanted to sell what I was writing. I wanted to sell the programs that I was creating. And everybody out there said that this is how you did it. So I started doing client avatars and I started doing all of this other stuff. And I got to be honest, it never fucking worked.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually, I'm now realizing that's why I never really sold my programs and my courses and my master classes and all of that stuff at the level that I could sell spells at. Because I was trying to speak to people in this very mainstream way. Mm-hmm. But with the spell work and the readings, I was speaking to people in a very magical way. Mm-hmm. And I never did it with the other stuff because I could find people who could teach you, well, here's how to create a program in 3 hours, or here's how to market your high ticket evergreen program, or, all of this other stuff, right? Yeah. There are all these people. So I thought, well, I've got a master class that I want to sell. I've got a 5-day challenge I want to do. I've got a high ticket, year-long program I want to produce and put out there. So if this person can do it, I'll just take what they're doing in business or whatever, and then I'll just apply it to what I'm doing. But then the problem was that no one was talking about how to sell your tarot courses or how to sell your manifestation courses or how to sell any of that stuff in a higher frequency magical way. They were only talking about how to do this stuff in a very mainstream way. And if I had to bet, even though I don't really do a lot of research anymore and taking people's stuff, honestly, because I've just done so much of it, I'm like, no, I will not take in anyone else's frequency but my own when it comes to this. Absolutely not. The truth is, like, I just think there's not very many people out there right now teaching anything like this, because it's still very stuck in that mainstream way. Even if the people are talking, you know, even if they're like, I'm a high priestess and I'm teaching you business or whatever, right? The truth is just most of them aren't talking about business in this way. It's a very multidimensional experience. It makes absolutely no fucking sense. I cannot put this into a webinar or into a simple 3-step program or whatever. It doesn't work like that, because it is literally about, are you communicating across time and space with your ideal clients who you already have cosmic business contracts with? That's what we're talking about here. Like, we're talking about quantum entanglement as a business tactic, and not in a cute little, I'm going to show you how to quantum leap way, but in an actual, how do you communicate across time and space and shift your timelines and Doctor Strange the fuck out of your business and your life at the same time. Welcome to Monetize Your Magic. Like, that is literally the whole point of Monetize Your Magic. That's why, well before you get into building your iconic legacy brand, we gonna build you an iconic legacy brand of your magic. But beforehand, you gotta unlock what your magic is, and you have to understand how to do business in this completely different way. And that's what Business in 7D is, which is phase 2 of Monetize Your Magic. From the beginning, this is not like spirituality, woo-woo, any of that. Like, I'm actually teaching you multidimensional technologies to use and like techniques to use to actually do business in this way. And you don't have to, it's not about like mantraing your brains out or breath working until you know, are stoned from the oxygen, or, you know, just meditating for 8 hours a day or any of that. Like, those are techniques that you can use to move through things. Those are really energy shifting techniques. What I'm talking about is like literally, how do you connect across time and space with who you're talking to? How do you send the message? Because I'm convinced that's what Michael did for Arcturian Wealth Codes. I'm actually convinced that's what you do for everything Arcturian. I think that is why, I'm just getting this. I think that's why all of your Arcturian and Syrian stuff goes way further than anything else, because you don't really know anything about Rigel.
Yeah.
You don't really remember anything about a lot of these places. And so, but when you think Arcturian, you think me, or you think Raja, or you think Jay, or you think somebody that you know, right? When you think Syrian, you think about yourself, or you think about a few other people that we know who carry the Syrian frequency. Yeah. And so you're able to actually identify with that energy across time and space. And then you're able to send that energy out to people who are also carrying those frequencies. But you can tap into, like...
I could tap into any one of them.
Actually, though, you can't. Because you carry Syrian, not Arcturian. Arcturians are the ones that can tap into all of them. That's why I can talk to everybody. That's why I can channel all of the frequency codes from all these different places. Yeah. It's just because I have the literal, like, I have the security clearance. I have the key card. I get to go in that room. This is also why, like, I do, like, the cosmic transmissions and stuff. But you have been to all of these places too, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that you haven't, but it's just a little bit less natural for you to do it. So that's why it's more natural for you to focus on the Syrian and Arcturian stuff. But that's also why it goes further, because you can tap into that frequency. You don't tap into the other frequencies like I do.
No.
Interesting. So I'm not really sure what we're going to do about that, because we definitely want to be reaching across time and space to all these homies. But I love how I said it was going to be like short, because I was just going to say something quickly, and I'm physically incapable of doing anything short because I have to make everything a whole episode. I started, why not just finish it? Also, my back's feeling so much better since we started recording. Like, this is great.
Hey.
Yeah. So, anyways. All right, well, we're going to go figure out how to reach out across. I mean, I do know. I just don't know what to, like, I got to go figure out how to bring this from the astral plane to the physical plane. And that's where I think we get like a little bit hung up in what to do or in how to do it. But that's also how the bots can come in and get you to do things that aren't that. Cool. I have absolutely no clue what to do about this. How fun! Yay! I have to go figure something out. I'm so excited. Whew. Okay, so then I'll probably figure it out by later. And don't worry, in the next episode, I will tell you what we figured out. So on that note, love you. Bye.